Welcome to AccraVice.
Thank you for having me.
So, I would like you to introduce yourself and we'll go from there.
Okay, my name is Frank Eyehorua. I still have another name, but it's not necessary. And I'm a businessman. I'm into sales of honey and over-the-counter drugs. And I'm also the HRO manager to ABL. It's a boxing organization that we came together to form. So that's it. That's who I am.
Okay. So, you're in Nigeria.
Of course I am.
So, being a Nigerian in Ghana, how has it affected your experiences? Because a lot of people have different stories. To some people, being a Nigerian in Ghana has been very wonderful for them, and some people it has been very terrible. So, you being a Nigerian in Ghana, how does that affect you? If it's terrible, let us know why you feel. Let us know what makes it like that from your experience, and if it has been wonderful, and if it has been a mixed bag, please feel free to express it.
Thank you. In my own opinion, I would say it's a mixed bag because there are good moments, there are not so good moments, and there are terrible moments. Okay, because I remember first coming to Ghana and leaving at Brusali University after my final year, coming to Ghana. My experience on the way, it wasn't that easy. I knew that I'm stepping into another man's land. And though the lady that was with me on my way coming, she was very helpful. She was a Ghanaian, and I thank God for her. You know, God have a way of bringing people to support you when you have an idea to do something. And that one was part of it. Stepping into Ghana, I wasn't directly imputed into the upper class. In fact, I started from scratch. So I was in the slum. And you know what it means like living in the slum in another man's land. It was good and it was terrible because sometimes you get to find out that the culture is different. Like I remember one incident, very funny one. It was Christmas, the first year I was in Ghana. In Nigeria growing up, when Christmas is the family share food, drinks, we wear good clothes, we go out, they give you money and things. But being in Ghana, in the slum, I woke up that day and I find that everybody was going about their business like it was a normal day. And I was like, I talked to my friend I was with. I said, yo, what's up? Is there nobody cooking? And they laugh. Say, this is Ghana. This is Accra. Cry your cry. I say, what is cry your cry? Say, don't worry, you will understand when the time comes. And it was getting towards about 4 thereabout. There was nothing to eat. And I was like, how are we going to survive in this kind of place? Even Christmas, nothing to eat. And then we'll have to go to one of our big brothers' place. They were able to have something because it was Christmas and everybody were here to drink. But I never forget that day. I knew that, yes, this is a place where you cry your cry. And you have to cry it very well because nobody will cry it for you. So those are one of those things. And the good moments, the nightlife, you get people who will support you, even though you are not brothers or sisters, but you are from the same place, Nigeria, they will get to support you, show you one or two things, and tell you how to live in the land so that you don't have problems. And though living in this slum, I would be advised that there are some do's and don'ts. There are some things you don't do. Because when you do it, the locals, they take it upon you. I've seen cases where people have been brutalized, but I've not been brutalized. But there was a case of a guy that I was having a bicycle, and he begged me for it. He's a Ghanaian. And I said, okay, for my good heart, have it. And then he took it, he rode it for a while, and then he rode off. So I was there waiting, and another Ghanaian came by. I was like, oh, did you give him your bike? I said, yes. So he laughed funnily and said, that bike, have lost it. I was like, are you joking? Do you know who owns the bike? He said, oh, I've made a mistake. I shouldn't have given him the bike. And so I went to meet my brother I was staying with. I told him the issue. He was like, what? I'm not into this. You have to do it alone. Because you know how these Ghanaians, they behave. I was like, ah. So nobody can speak up for you when it comes to a Nigerian and a Ghanaian thing. And it's obvious that sometimes in Ghana here, because of how things are done, unless the Ghanaians stand up for you, you can't really do much because you are in their land and they can take advantage at any time. That happens. So when you are in that kind of situation, either you let it go or you have a Ghanaian that will back you up to get what you have. So I had this conversation with my fellow Nigerians. Nobody seems to be interested to help. Because when it comes to Ghana, everybody wants to stay clear from it. I met this guy later in the day. Man, can I have my bike? And he threatened me. Like, hey, what's up? You know? I was like, wow. I was scared first. And later I was like, I'm me worry boy, the fear person. How? It's not possible now. How can I? This is my own property. How can you just take it? And then I think by 9:10 in the night, I went to meet this guy. I said, I want my bike. And he was like, hey, he was with his group of boys. And I said, I'm going to fight all of them if they don't give me my bike. And he was like, I said, immediately he mentioned that I'm going to hurt somebody here right now. And then the Ghanaian guy who owns a business center close heard the commotion and he came around. And what's going on? I explained it to him. He was a good guy, he's a Muslim. And then he tried to sort things out. You know, I've had beautiful experience with Ghanaians. There are Ghanaians who are very supportive, and I've have moments with terrible ones too. Good and terrible people are everywhere in the world. So it's just that when you are, because even in Nigeria, before I came here, they have even oppressed me in Warri before. So it's not a new thing.
So will you say that you being a Nigerian, like your Nigerianness gives some Ghanaians how will I say, the license to oppress?
And that's one day we don't have to say some. It's obvious it is. Because you don't expect somebody to come into your house and try to take dominion over you in your own house. It's not possible, you see. So, for those, you see, when you meet the enlightened Ghanaians, you enjoy them. You enjoy the stay. You know, you get to understand the word Akwaba. You get to feel what it is to be among Ghanaians. But when you meet the knotheads, you want to go back to your country immediately. Because they won't they don't, when they see you, they feel like you are just here to cause problem. Because you see, most of the movies and the Nigeria must go thing and the things that transpire between Ghana and
Ghana
Nigeria,
was good.
yes, those things have built up a kind of, how will I say it, a mindset where when a Ghanaian sees a Nigerian, he sees you like you are here to take an advantage of him or her. You see, so that has always happened. But when you meet a Ghanaian that feels you, that understands you, that knows what it means for you to be in a foreign land, they'll treat you right. So it's just depending on who you are meeting.
Okay, so I learned that you later got married.
Oh yes.
How was that experience, and how did that whole scenario expose you further to a culture shock?
You see, first I had this mindset that I'm not sure I'm going to marry a Ghanaian because I had somebody in Nigeria before. And along the line, I met my kid's mother. She was a wonderful woman. She was very supportive. She inspires me. And then I was like, okay, being a Christian, normally I prayed about it. God, if this is the right one, no problem. So to fast forward it, so we had a relationship. We went to Nigeria so that she knows my place. I know where I'm coming from. She met my family. They accepted her. We came back and continued. And then we got married. It was beautiful. Friends, well wishes, everybody was there. And then when the family came in, then I have to now experience the real culture, and not diving into Ghana because ever since I was staying in Ghana, I've not really mixed up to the level of family going into the culture much. But when I married, that happened. And I remember one very funny incident where my late wife, grandmother had passed on, and we were traveling to go and do the funeral. And then I've not noticed, then I've never knew that in Ghana, when Ghanaians are having funeral, they put on black costume. Their attire they wear is black. When the person is old, they use white. So they brought the clothes, and then mine was sewn. A shirt was sewn for me. And then we went back on this journey. We didn't drive. And then I was developing what they call anxiety at that time, which I never understand what was happening. But I knew I was just having this fear unnecessarily. I haven't come across the word anxiety before at that time. So while we were traveling, I was like, Nigerian man traveling on another man's land. Where do you think you are going, young man? And I was like, you're married, no problem. Let's go. This was in my head. And my wife does not know that this is what's going on in my head. So while we are heading towards the places around Kumasi or so, in Accra here, in Ghana, I was seeing billboards and seeing people wearing red and black and seeing canopies red and black here and there. Practically, both sides of the road, there was a lot of funerals going on. And I was like, where the heck is this woman taking me to that everybody's wearing red and black? I know where we come from in Nigeria, when you wear red and black, it's spiritual, it's occultic. And I said, so you left Nigeria to Ghana to hustle, you got married, and you're going to be slaughtered. I was like, this is serious. I was praying, what's going on? Let me even say, but this is a beautiful woman you with. You know she will not harm you. But where are you going? Must you go? But okay, let's go. You're a man. And then we are going. The more I was seeing the red and black, the more the anxiety was building up. And then to top it up, I was seeing somewhat of these herbalists or native doctors, and you see some of the sandboard, the snake drawn on it.
So you don't see that in Nigeria?
Eh? You know, being in Nigeria, you don't really pay more. You can be in an environment you are used to. Because you are used to it, you don't really see things strangely unless when you go out. Like let me tell you something. When I left Nigeria, on my way from Semeboda coming to Porto-Novo in Benin, I had noticed that the palm trees at the beach and what I was seeing in Nigeria, the color were different. The texture of what I was seeing was different. I instantly knew that I'm in another land, you see. So I'm that kind of sensitive person. I easily notice things. So seeing those kind of weird sandboard and all those things, I was like, oh my God, you have to save me from this one. So we went to the village, we went to this place, and then we drove for a long time and got there, did the funeral and everything. I came back. When I got to my breath, thank God I'm back. But that was where the anxiety thing kicked off to, seeing things that you are not used to. Because I think in Nigeria, I've only been to funeral twice. When I was young with my dad and with the church I was going to. And the person, it was around my area the funeral went on. So it wasn't something strange to me. But doing these thousands of kilometers away from home with a woman, you know how life is, and knowing all this Samson and Delilah story and everything, you know what women can do. So that is just it. But I think it's all the build-up of the anxiety that was in me at that time. Because at that time, I think I was just becoming my 30s when I got married. And I came to Ghana at the age of 23, you see, as a young man in another man's land. And one funny thing that caused this anxiety is that the people I thought I knew in Nigeria, when I met them here, their character was off the limit. You see, when you are in a place where your own people you think you know, you can't even trust anybody. It's a place where it's like everybody's like wolf.
Will you say that? Will you say that these Nigerians, like when they crossed over to Ghana, being in another man's land, the sense of desperation, the sense of having to survive, makes everybody desperate in a way?
If I say desperate, let's say this is more than desperation, bro. The life you experience here and the life you experience back home is two different lives. You see that slogan I said earlier, cry or cry. It sounds simple, but it carries a lot, you see. There is nobody you can fully vouch for that this person, I trust this person. Because at the next minute, if it's to, they can just abandon you at the next minute. And this is somebody that you believe that this is my own. That is how I see it. Because
What do you think causes that kind of?
yes, I think it's the survival mechanism they have adopted in this land, because where you have no father, no mother, no real friend, everybody wants to survive. And because of that survival mechanism, it's like a jungle. Yes, it's like a jungle.
From the perspective of Those Nigerians in the slums.
Yes, it's like a jungle. Because I remember where these three guys were staying together, were friends. One particular one took me to their house. I didn't enter the house. He went in, collected the money they were all spending. I don't know what he has done with the money. And then I left and I went to sleep. While I was resting, they came to meet me and asked me, "Where's the money?" I was like, "What money? Are you okay?" You understand that kind of thing.
Oh.
You see, if not for the way I was built and they know that this guy can fight or something like that, they would have really bones me. When I miss bones, like they will brutalize me. You see. So I've had where people just get aggro. The guy I was with, a friend from Nigeria, he was stabbed by the face.
By Nigerian.
Yes. There was one too, he was stabbed by the neck by a Nigerian. What is the cause of all the just some little aggro? So
This is like an interesting thing. So the Nigerians are violent towards each other more than they are violent towards any other person.
yes, no,
And some Ghanaians are also violent towards Nigerians
Yes.
because they are Nigerians.
yeah, I think it's the way Nigerians are to Nigerians that makes Ghanaians be that way to Nigerians. Because when I was in Alajo, in Ghana, Accra here, I see French people and I see the way Ghanaians interact with them. It's not like the way they interact with Nigerians. You see. Because the French people, they always stick around themselves. But Nigeria, we are all the way. Because sometimes you don't even have anything and you depend on the Ghanaian to help you. But after gaining something from the Ghanaian, you tend to want to, some Nigerians have that character of biting the hand that have fed them. And when that happens, that person will tell his brother and becomes a stigma to Nigerians because when they see you, you might be an Igbo, Yoruba, they will call you Nigerian. They see another Nigerian, they'll say it's your brother.
Yes, there's a proverb that I've listened to a lot of Ghanaians say on this particular subject. A spoiled nut can spoil a big soup.
Immediately.
Yes. So
Yeah.
it's like, even though most Nigerians are not like that, the idea that some of them have done it, which is on record that they have done this,
Yeah.
it is going to reflect on the vast majority of Nigerians.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, that is it. So, and one of the issues I have, one like the incident I was talking about traveling and having this anxiety, when Nigerians are, there's a way they see Ghanaians too, and they'll feed that in your head. And when you are with Ghanaians, there's a way they are too, and they'll feed that in their own head about Nigeria. So with all this commotion in your head, as a young man without somebody who is directing you, it's not going to be easy, you see.
You develop anxiety.
Immediately. And anxiety is not something that is funny. So that is it. So being married was beautiful too. I get to enjoy Ghana, the weekends. I get to have my wife's people around me. I get to get that support. I get to feel
Like
protected. Yes, you see. So when anything happens, you have somebody. Like one of the incident, she was a wonderful woman. That I won't sugarcoat it. She was a wonderful woman. And she really helped me transition here in Ghana when I gave birth to my son and everything. It was beautiful. You see, till I came to Ashoman Estate, I tell the story changed. You see, when she passed on, the story changed. And being a single father now, as a Nigerian in Ghana, wow, it's not easy. Because if I was in Nigeria, being a single father, I believe I have younger ones, I have people around me which they will be able to help. But you see, since she wasn't there, and the family is made of women, they can't stick around. And where they are staying and where I'm staying, it's very far from each other. So my son at that time, growing up, seeing how he was with the mother, I could bear to see him with somebody else. So I had to take the challenge to be there. And my daughter I raised her from day one because the mother died the very day she was giving birth to. So I have to do all that. And in doing that, having to cook, having to wash, having to work at the same time, do homework, try to. Men, some things are not meant for men. Yes. You see, that is where I get to understand that God has really made this world beautiful, but we men, we human beings, we try to, like the ideology where they say what a man can do, a woman can do better. I don't, from my own experience, I don't buy into that because there are things women can do very well, and there are things men can do very well. Raising kids, taking care of home, that's a woman's job because they have that maternal instinct. When a man is playing that role, it's tedious for the man because a man is meant to work, give advice, protect. And now when you are doing that and not trying to be a mother at the same time, Charlie, not be easy. Let me use Ghana language there. Not be easy. Because all these years being a single father, I've learned a lot. There are some business I should attend, some meeting I should attend. I won't be able to go because the kids are home. You see, I have to sometimes you don't have that time to go out and free yourself. Every man needs a mean time to think, to refresh, to reboot yourself. But when you don't have that, you break down. You see, and coping with mental illness like this anxiety thing and all those things is terrible. You see, but I thank God for support system because I do have some people who are around me that can make guy. What's up? This is how I feel. How do you feel? And so I feel this way. Yeah, so it's not me alone. Ah, okay, that's comforting to know. And then you begin to talk to people who understand what you are going through. And when you have that kind of connect where somebody can tell you, oh, I've passed through this road before, this is how it is. You going through the road will be easy for you. But when you're going through a road where nobody has passed through before, you don't know how the road is. If there's a portal, you're definitely going to fall in it. You have to discover everything yourself. But while you are discovering and somebody's around you, so, okay, let's do it like this, they do it, that's it. I think somewhere along the line, God being so merciful, I had that kind of support. And it really helped me walk through that path. Because when she died, I had to grieve in my own way. I was drinking. And the funny thing about grieving is that you don't even know that you are doing it. But you are doing it. Because if I don't drink, I don't sleep. I must get high to the extent that when the roof is spinning, that's when I can sleep. Because my mind has to go off for all those pains and all those dreams and everything. So that's it. That's my life in Ghana.
So, being in Nigeria and Ghana, like the moment when your wife passed, how 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 did you go through that process You know that in Ghana, Nigerians already have a stigma to them. So how did you go through that whole scenario and how did it affect you?
Okay. First of all, my late dad told me something during that particular time. While we were going to get the coffee to lay her to rest, he called me on the phone. My friend was driving, and he said, I know that you're a young man. You've not been married for long, and this has happened. But I won't want you to use this as a yardstick to derive from your responsibility as a father and then capitalize on it and start misbehaving or doing anything. I know it's terrible, but one thing I want you to know is you're not the first it has happened to, and you will not be the last it will happen to. So it's better you sit up yourself, knowing that it has happened, and move on with it. When he said that, I was like a weak man, but when he said that, I had to man up instantly, coming from him. And then I thought about my kids. It's a new baby. Then my son was 2 years and about 5 or 6 months. This guy is barely 3 years. This one is just coming to the world. If I use this opportunity now to become a nut case, who will take care of these kids? And so I had to man up. Though the drinking was undisputed, I can't remove that. It helped me. That was the way I was grieving. I was drinking, but I had it in mind that I can't disappoint her. I can't disappoint my old boy. I can't disappoint myself. And I can't fail them too, because they didn't beg me to bring them into this world. I got married on my own free will. I brought them into the world, so it's my responsibility to be there. So that was it. That is the way I've grieved. And I have friends that were supporting at that time who go out to drink, who go out. And then there's some that are like, okay, Frank, you need to know this. You need to pray. You need to know this, you know. So the people in my life that took me seriously then, they were a big help, you see. So it wasn't easy. Then I wasn't really thinking about I don't have any issues. You know, then with the family too, we are not in good terms because of what happened. Everybody was grieving at that time because it was a big loss to everybody, you see. So with the family not around, me alone with my younger sister, before I went to Nigeria, I came back. I brought my friends into the house with the kids. Wow. Going back to those memories, it was serious. But you see, today it's a lot easier because my son is about 9 years. My daughter is 5. You can, hey, do this, hey, do this. Then you have to do every goddamn thing, you see. So, and not having the support of mother, sister, family there where you can, no, you have to do. Sometimes in the night I can just be there, I will just cry. And me being a man, I've never had anything to cry about in my life before. No matter what it is, I don't cry. But when I happened to be in this situation, I knew this one was more than what I could take. I cried, you see. I'm not shy about it. I cried. And it was not just It was for a long time, more than a year. And aside friends and everybody, I was reading books too. I go online and search how do people grieve and all these things. And being a single father too wasn't easy. It's not easy because your finances goes down. You don't have support, you see. And trying to raise kids at the same time working, it's not something one person can do easily, you see. So that is one of the challenges being a single father you face, especially if there is nobody there to look after the kids when you are not there. Because I've not gotten anybody to be there. And another thing, I'm scared of even bringing a woman because I had a white lady I trusted at the time that came from America, and I introduced her to my children. They knew her. And when she went back, I don't know what happened. You see. So that makes me feel like if I want to bring somebody in, I should be very, very certain of this person. I don't want to bring you to my kids and introduce you to them, and then you're just going to mess it up. I don't want anybody to mess up my kids. So that is another part of it that makes a single father's life hard, you see. So apart from that, being a father is a beautiful thing. You get to see your kids, you get to see them, you get to impart that thing that's in you in them. You get to teach them how to grow, how to survive, and all these things, protect them, stand for them. It's a beautiful thing. But when the mother is not there, it becomes terrible. But with God, we're doing our best. And being in Ghana too, which is now our homeland, we still have friends that support. So we're okay. We're good. Thank God.
Wow, that has been an interesting share. So, where would you say you are right now, and what are the hopes you have for the future?
Okay. Where I am right now, the slogan now is build in silence so that people don't know what to destroy. So that is where we are now. Because I know my people. I know my people, and my people know me. Just like the Bible says, God knows his people, and people know him. And apart from that circle that I've built the circle around myself. I tend to stick in that. And another thing is, wherever I am now, I'm grateful. And where I'm going, it's on God. We'll leave that.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Frank, for your share.
Oh, thank you,
And
AccraVice.
I hope to have you here again to talk about more in-depth talks.
Oh, sure. You see, one thing before I go, one thing I would like to say is that death is a terrible thing. Death is a terrible thing. But it's not the end of the world. Okay. No matter what happened, you can't switch your rule. But you can play it, you can improvise, you can compromise. You can become better or you can become worse. But if every man have a goal in his heart that no matter what, this is who I want to be, it is going to be hard, but you will always be able to do one or two things and be comfortable that, yes, I've tried. It's better you be that father that you always want to be than use the yardstick of death and become something else. Because the Africa that we have today, when you speak to an average young man, you wonder who is raising this guy. Because It seems that most young people, all what people think about is money, money, money. But human beings forget that relationship matters. You see, what we do now affects what result we get tomorrow. The relationship you keep now determines what kind of outcome is going to come tomorrow. So no matter what you face in life, shit happens. You can't decide what happened in life. But how you will react when it happens, that is on you. You see. So that's it. So no matter what it is, death or no death, as far as you are breathing, move on.
Thanks for sharing.
No shit, man. All right. Thanks for having me.